think this is the first time that I've seen it not dirt spot special.
I did a quick wash this morning. It's still not that clean. As you can see, I was very spotty with my cleaning job. I only cleaned the front of the spokes. I didn't clean anywhere near the rest of it.
That's perfectly fine. But yeah, dude, thanks for doing this, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think it'll be cool. So there's the Audi. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I'll be curious what you think about it.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I was actually reading up on it, and like, I heard that it's got a transmission that like Lotus uses, or it's like in the same family. And I'm like, huh. And like after driving the Emira recently, I was like, okay, I can kind of understand it. Hit sport, and then
it automatically puts into manual.
And you can, like, after that you can hit the paddle, and it'll show an M.
Yeah, M1S is what it says. So that's manual sport.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
You were all good, dude.
Okay, where's the drift button at?
It don't got one, brother. Oh man.
Awesome.
Yeah. Alrighty, I'll see you, man.
See you later, man.
Roshan and I did a little switcheroo today. It's kind of the exact same thing as I did with Jason's GTR, where I gave Roshan the Audi R8 for the day, and I get the GR Corolla for the day. So, today's video is going to be focused on whether or not you can daily drive a GR Corolla. Chances are it's going to do fine, but I'm curious to see if we're going to find any quirks or things where it's like, man, I really don't like this about this car, so we'll see. I'm excited to share it with you guys. We'll be going over things like visibility, MPG, power, experience, space, and so forth. So let's go ahead and get into it. I need to take a trip to Best Buy because I left my suction cup in the Lotus Emira last time I drove it. So it'll be a quick drive over to Best Buy, pick up that, and then we'll get into it. All right, what's up guys? We are back with another daily driver video. We've got the GR Corolla today, courtesy of my friend Roshan. So yeah, this thing is really cool. It's a 3-cylinder turbocharged, got 300 horsepower, 273 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs just around 3,200 pounds, which is really not bad for a 4-door hatchback. It'll go 0 to 60 in about 4.9 seconds, and it's got roughly 24 miles per gallon combined. The great thing about this car is that, especially when you live in a snowy environment such as Colorado, it's all-wheel drive, and that comes in handy when you're going through inclement weather. So it's really cool. Let's go ahead and start off with the exterior of this car. Exterior is a huge thing when daily driving because you have to like the look of the car. You have to pass the look back test, and I would say that this certainly does. So the GR Corolla, it's based off of the regular Corolla, which just kind of has a classic, sleek hatchback design to it. But with the GR Corolla, they took it up to 11 and made it a lot more angry looking, gave it much wider hips, gave it a lot more fins, and just aggressive design features. I actually quite like it. I always liked how these looked. When they first came out, I was like, thank God we actually got a hatchback in the US. Now, a super interesting thing about the GR Corolla that I learned is that the wheels, based on what I know, they're actually made by Enkei, which is really cool, that they came with a factory Enkei option. They're not the prettiest wheels by any means, but still very, very cool. The headlights on these are also unique to the GR Corolla. No other Corolla has these, so they're very futuristic and just very subtle, but also aggressive. Love the LED lighting. I'm always a sucker for that with like daytime running lights and everything. It's also got some really cool fog lamps that are down on the bumper. But yeah, the overall profile of it really looks quite nice for a hatchback in the modern era. Now, a really interesting thing that was a bit dividing when the GR Corolla came out was the 3 exhaust tips. Now that middle exhaust tip I think does have a function apparently to help out with airflow as well as reduce turbo back pressure. Whether or not that's the case, I'm a fan of it. I think it actually suits the design pretty well. But where the car really shines, in my opinion, is the front bumper design as well as the rear bumper. I just really like the look of them. Kind of reminds me of growing up, there was a variety of different JDM style body kits, and it's just cool to see this. It's not overdone by any means, but it's definitely noticeable. So from a design perspective, I'm into it. I also just really like the GR badging, and I like the little GR4 engravings or like insets in the side skirts. I think that's a pretty fun touch. I never noticed that before, to be honest. The rear also has a nice spoiler on it. Again, nothing overly aggressive, but it is beefed up and it just looks like it means business. And it'd be easy to change, but I would like to see this just a little bit lower to close that fender to wheel gap. It's kind of monster trucking a little bit, but given the kind of rally background that this thing is supposed to promote, it works. I'm happy with it. Oh yeah, Roshan, you might want to get your windows tinted. I think that would help out too a little bit. Oh yeah, and the mirrors have a little turn signal light on them. I like that from a design perspective, but also from a safety perspective. All right, so we are in the GR Corolla interior. I would say overall the materials feel pretty damn solid. Like, the shifter feels really good. Steering wheel feels really good. Like, the materials are really pretty dang nice for Toyota, which is a welcome surprise. Then again, newer cars are just getting nicer and nicer, so it's not necessarily a fair comparison to older cars. But yeah, it seems like they got some leather materials in here, which is good. A couple of piano black accents, which I like, and just the overall like artistic design, especially of like the dash. I really like the vents for some reason. I just think they look sleek, they look good. But there are some plasticky pieces where it's like, this could be parts bin stuff. It doesn't feel like it's the most high quality, but that's okay. I think this car is a lot more about the driving experience and the functionality of it. As far as visibility goes, I mean, it's a 4-door, so you've got tons of visibility. That shouldn't even be a concern in this car. I suppose the rear panels, like going from the very back of the rear window to the actual hatch, those seem to be a little bit chunky, but otherwise, the actual hatch window is giant. These windows are tall. Front visibility is fine. Doesn't leave anything to be desired, so it's doing its job. As far as space goes, again, it's a 4-door car, and it's got a pretty large hatch in the back. So that hatch isn't the most giant that I've ever seen, but again, it's functional, so you can fold down the seats and have quite a bit of space. Are you gonna sleep back there? Probably not. Are you gonna be able to move some pretty basic stuff? Yeah, I would say so. The seats themselves are really, really good. They kind of feel like Recaros, which in my book, that's a very good thing. But yeah, I could see myself road tripping in this thing very, very easily. There's only 2 things that I would really like to see in this interior. 1, I would like to have a way to adjust the lumbar support in the seats. And 2, I would love to have a higher armrest. Now, it's not as bad as some other cars where you just have this steep drop-off. The seat does have a bolster here, so you can kind of rest your arm there. But again, man, I'm such an armrest guy. I really would like to have one. Back onto the space comment, though. If you don't want to use the hatch for whatever reason, the back seats have plenty of space. The passenger seat has plenty of space, so yeah, you can haul around quite a bit. As far as the tech goes, I mean, this is pretty standard Toyota. So if you're familiar with any modern Toyota, I think you'll get along just fine with the infotainment system. The dash I actually like quite a bit. I like how they have your temps on there, and I just like how they have it's a simple layout. There's not too much there to look at, which is good. In my opinion, simple is better when it comes to dash layouts and gauges. I might be old school, but just having this amount of buttons on the steering wheel, I'm not the biggest fan of, just because I think it crowds the design. But other than that, climate control is super easy to use. They still have buttons. It's not like everything is centralized on the screen. Big plus in my opinion. Easy to adjust the AC. So yeah, overall I'd say it's very straightforward to use, and the interior is comfortable. Your headroom, it is a little bit of a sloping roof line towards the front, so I don't know. I guess if you're an absolute giant and pushing like 6'5", you might start to have a little bit of trouble, but it is pretty bubbly up here. Headroom shouldn't really be much of an issue for anyone that purchases one of these. The mirrors, I don't know why, but with the mirrors, like the rear view is great, but the side mirrors, they feel a little bit small. I don't know what it is. I think I would like them to be just a little bit bigger. Yeah, the only other complaint that I really have is the seatbelt alarm is kind of ridiculous. Like, you'll be going 5 miles per hour in a parking lot and it'll start yelling at you, like, loudly. Why are you so angry? I'm stopped. It's okay. So, that's an annoying part. If you were going like 10 miles per hour or above and it yells at you like that, I would understand it a little bit more. But like in a parking lot, come on. The door panel design kind of leaves a bit to be desired. Interior noise though, like road noise, is far less than I expected. You can still hear quite a bit around you, so it's not going to be a Rolls-Royce or Bentley luxury experience. I feel like a lot of the road noise comes in through the windows, oddly enough. Yeah, I don't know. Like the materials I feel like could be just a little bit higher quality. I know it's Toyota that we're talking about, but Toyota's released some nice stuff. I just kind of feel like for their GR, they could have upped it a little bit more. This is pretty much fully stock from what I know. And it's got a little bit of a rumble. Nothing too crazy. It's definitely not overwhelming or like, you know, an orchestra behind you. But, you know, I'm sure with exhaust on it, it would probably sound pretty decent. The part that I think is particularly fun is the sound of the turbo blow off. Occasionally you'll get a fun little, you know, psh here and there, which is certainly welcomed. As far as tech and safety, it's pretty much got all the bells and whistles. It's got the lane departure. It's got the blind spot monitors, which is nice. I will say, though, another weird thing about the interior that I've noticed is that when you have the AC on, full blast, it seems to kind of have this weird, like, I don't know if you guys have heard the sound of an electric lighter, but it's just this real high-pitched kind of dog whistle sound. I've noticed that it likes to do that noise for whatever reason. Another thing that I really like to talk about in these reviews with Can You Daily Drive X is reliability. So given that this is a Toyota, in theory, it should do pretty well. However, I believe this is the first time that they are using the 3-cylinder turbo. So it's an early generation engine, and who knows what can go wrong with those things. In fact, I have been seeing some news about these catching on fire. Now, I know that that is few and far between. Hell, the Audi R8 catches on fire. So as long as that's a low percentage, I think that's fine. But Toyota's responses to some of those articles have been concerning, to say the very least. Now on to the driving experience of the GR Corolla. I would say it's very spirited. It's plenty of power, especially like, it is so easy to find yourself going from like 30 miles per hour to 80 or like 75. Like, I've had multiple times today where I've looked down and I'm like, oh, how did those numbers get to where they're at? But yeah, the thing just feels like such a little grunt. Like, it just wants to go, and it's got a lot of roller coaster feelings. Like I said, the 0 to 60, 4.9 seconds. It's not the most impressive, but it's a very fun 4.9 seconds, I will say that. But this car definitely shines in the twisties. The power is pretty predictable. I would say there have been some times today where I've been like, whoa, like, this thing is getting up to speed a lot quicker than I expected with the throttle input that I'm giving it at the time. So it's not exactly linear, and I haven't quite figured out what the perfect mix is there yet, just because I'm not used to the car. Yeah, it's weird with the throttle input. I almost feel like it's a little bit too touchy. That's the best way I can describe it. But yeah, given how rough the suspension is, I have noticed that my throttle input gets a little bit messed up, which I'm a little bit surprised by that. Where it's like, if I go over a bump, my foot does like a little bit of a vibration, and I feel like the throttle almost responds to that, and so that's what makes me feel like it's a little too touchy. Turning radius in this is really good. It is a smaller hatchback, so I shouldn't be surprised. The suspension in this is really, really stiff for it coming from factory. Now, I'm very used to stiffer suspension, but I'm not sure if this is adding to the performance of the car or if it's there more for theatrics. This is not going to be the couch sofa type of daily driver car that you typically expect. It's definitely a little bit more performance focused. So if you're looking for something that is a little bit more plush, luxurious, goes over bumps, you know, easily, this probably wouldn't be a great daily driver in that sense. It is a bit harsh. And again, I don't know if that harshness is actually helping out the performance or if it is more for the theatrics of driving the car. From what I can tell, you know, tossing around some corners, it seems like it has some performance benefit, and it is very confidence inspiring. Oh, yeah, like that. That was a little bit rough. The brakes, I would say they're like 90% what I like. I would say they're just a tad touchy, in my opinion. I like more of a natural progression on the brakes. But the brakes feel like they have plenty of stopping power, so I feel safe in it, that's for sure. Yeah, as far as feedback through the steering wheel, I would say it's pretty muted. I'm not really feeling the road a whole bunch, which is fine, you know, to each their own. Just kind of a matter of preference, but I typically like to feel the road a little bit more through the steering wheel, just because that way I can get an understanding. That way I can get an understanding of how the car is behaving, if I need to make any corrective maneuvers and so forth. But yeah, this one feels pretty muted. For the clutch and shifting, I have pretty minimal experience with manual cars at this point. I hope to continue adding to the roster and adding to the experiences of manual cars that I have driven. Getting used to the clutch in this thing, I found it to be pretty difficult during my time today. I've just noticed that it really likes to buck on you, and maybe that's, I mean, there's a good chance that's just my driver's skill. But it could be the car too, I don't know. So I've noticed in particular, shifting from first to second and second to third, that's when I get the most amount of bucking. I have figured out a way to, you know, make that more of a smooth experience, but I have the time to make 50 ham sandwiches between each shift when I do that. So that's not the best, but again, I get the feeling it's just my skill with manual driving at this point. So, but from third onward, things smooth as butter. I will say I got the hang of feathering the clutch pretty well. Still a little bit jerky with it, probably riding the clutch a little bit more than I should. But I haven't stalled it today. Oh, he stalled it! So that's a good sign. I've only driven this car once before, and it was for a very limited amount of time. As far as the shifting goes, like the shift knob and how it feels, it's very notchy. I was wondering why it felt familiar. It actually feels similar, like the throws feel very similar to the Lotus Emira, and you know, it just feels like very long throws. It adds to the dramatic nature of shifting the car. It accentuates it, which I do like quite a bit. So I did a little bit of research, and I did find out that this transmission is in the same family as what is found in the Lotus Evora. So it's not the Emira, but the shifting dynamics are very similar, which I find really weird, to go from the Emira to this four-door and kind of have a similar experience. But yeah, the shifting is extremely notchy. You can clearly tell what gear you're in. There's no mystery at all. Getting into reverse, extremely straightforward. You just pull up on a little shift boot here, and that'll unlock reverse for you, so you don't have to worry about going into first and accidentally going into reverse or anything like that, which is nice. The clutch feel and like the catch point, I think the catch point is a decent bit lower than my Miata. That took a bit of getting used to. You also have to put in a little bit more pressure to press in the clutch, but honestly, you know, if I spent some more time in this and I got first to second and second and third ironed out, I think it would be a very smooth and nice experience as a daily driver. I don't know if this is placebo or not, but when I switched it from 60/40 to 70/30, like 70 is in the rear, I felt like the clutch was a little easier to engage. Like the car almost seemed like it was happier in that setting, which I don't know. Again, it could just be a placebo, but it's interesting. But yeah, I would say all in all, man, this car would make a very good daily driver for a car enthusiast that, you know, wants to have some turbo fun with their friends. I see this competing pretty clearly with the WRX and even the Honda Type R and the Acura Type S, but I personally would much rather drive this because of the all-wheel drive. I like that quite a bit more. And you know, the design, sure, it's more aggressive, but I like it. It makes me smile, and you know, it's not going to break necks by any means, but again, I like it. Seems pretty well balanced. The car behaves nicely. I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as daily drivability, I would probably give this thing like a 8.5. Just got some really good features about it, as discussed. The visibility is good, the space is good, it's intuitive. I mean, we can't be that surprised that Toyota made a really good hatchback that's also all-wheel drive. Yeah, man, this thing does egg you on, though, with that turbo. Be real easy to get some speeding tickets in this thing. Another thing that I think this car filled the shoes of is the Ford Focus RS. the all-wheel drive. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, there was the Ford Focus RS and the Ford Focus ST. The ST was the front-wheel drive turbo, and the RS was the all-wheel drive. So yeah, I think this one filled the shoes of that, which I'm grateful for. We don't really have too many all-wheel drive hatchbacks. Oh yeah, the Golf R. Duh, that's also another clear competitor for this. Any of the all-wheel drive Golf hatchbacks. But yeah, man, this thing feels good. Oh yeah, this behaves like an all-wheel drive car. God, yeah, it's so cool how it just seems like it's breathing. I don't have a lot of experience in turbo cars either, so this is a treat. But yeah, very confidence-inspiring around the turns. Man, yeah. Little U-turn here. No problem. No problem. Yeah, just like, it seems like it's barky, especially in lower gears. It's just like, oh. Yeah. Are we sure this goes 0 to 60 in only 4.9? I swear that felt faster. I probably should have put that in sport mode, but I mean, we can change it up here. It'll be fine. I don't feel any difference in sport mode, I'm sorry. Man. Yeah, this thing will put a smile on your face though, so. Again, daily driver for a car enthusiast. Right at home. Right at home. I'm taking this over a dirt lot right now. And it's a little bumpy, but no scrapes or anything. It's not low, it's got plenty of clearance, so. Again, that just speaks to its daily usability. Would I like the look of it more if it was lower? Yeah, definitely. But you'd lose this functionality, which I do like quite a bit. Oh, interesting. Huh. Sorry, I thought there would be a lot more turns on the steering wheel. I almost just called this a turning wheel. Start-stop feature is nice too. I do miss that. Yeah. Poor boy. Well guys, I think that's gonna do it for our time in the GR Corolla today. Really cool car. I love that they made this in the modern era, especially with a manual. So, with all that being said, can you daily drive a GR Corolla? I would say so. But I think that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. As a reminder, I upload every single Sunday, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know what you guys thought about the GR Corolla, or if you've driven one before.